Hi everyone, this is Nikki Rowland and I am making two layouts today for Hey Little Magpie. So both layouts are on the same video. So I am using the Fall Market collection by Carta Bella. So I don't really like fall or autumn themed layouts. I don't really like the colours that much. I don't mind oranges and yellows and reds, but I don't like brown basically. Mostly leaves and stuff, not my thing really. So therefore mostly I tend to try not to do too much autumn scrapbooking, I happened to take a whole load of photos on a few days out that we had, and this photograph here is one of them, and I was really taken by this Carta Bella Fall Market collection when I saw it at a Go-Go Getaway retreat. Hey Little Magpie were the shop there, and they had this collection there, and it was so pretty. The red and the orange leaves aren't with the bit that I thought was so pretty, but the second layout you'll see the colour scheme is beautiful. It's like a turquoise and yellow and orange, and together it was really beautiful, really pretty. So I thought I would embrace the autumn to get myself out of my comfort zone. And do a bit of autumn scrapbooking. I've done quite a lot this year actually. I had this piece of red plaid paper, or gingham almost paper, and I thought I'd quite like to make it a feature on my layout, but it was a bit too busy for the entire background, so I chopped up two large strips of it. And I figured that they can go on either side of my layout, and then I can have this big white area in between the two, and have it, you know, like kind of layers, or like it's torn all the way through. I don't know, I'm not quite sure what I'm talking about, but I wanted to have this strip of white going down the middle, but I wanted to have the red on top of the white rather than the white on top of the red, if that makes sense. I have torn those two pieces, and then I've torn another piece of the same collection Carta Bella paper. It had like hexagon frames all over it, and layered that onto the left hand side, and then I've torn a piece of the leaf paper because I didn't have 12-inch piece left, so I've just torn the piece that I have of that, and I've kind of created an extra layer, but it's not 12 inches long, but that's fine. It still looks like a decent paper layer. And then I realised that it wasn't long enough, it wasn't showing out from under the photo, so I had to tear another piece and put that in too. So I have my photos there. You can see I've got two photos. They're the same photo actually. The bigger one is printed in black and white, and the second one is printed in colour. So they're exactly the same photo. I kind of figured that I would layer them on top of each other, but I don't want to layer them up too much because I don't want to cover up her face at all on the bigger photo, because it just wouldn't look right, even though the detail of the photo is in the first one as well. I just didn't want to cover it up because it wouldn't look right. So I'm playing around with the pieces of ephemera. So this is Carta Bella, which is not a collection, or not a paper company I use that much. I'm not as familiar with them as I am some others. The ephemera that was in the ephemera pack was quite large, and there was lots of kind of big labels, phrases, that kind of thing, as opposed to lots of little bits and pieces what I'm more used to. So I found some of these a little bit tricky to use, but I definitely persevered and have managed to use quite a few of them on this layout. So I had a really large one that I've just cut in half. It's a shaped piece, and I've put half of it on the right hand side of my photos and half on the left. I've got several other pieces that I'd like to use as they are. So this square at the top that says, at the top of the photo, that says I love fall most of all, and then the one at the bottom that says welcome autumn days is ideal, and then there's another bigger one at the top there that says love. Now that was that one I mounted on top of a frame that was part of the ephemera as well. So I think it's a pumpkin patch or something, that frame. So I've taken the middle out, and I have layered up another piece that was more apt to this photo on top. Okay, so carrying on, I've just distressed the edges of all of those. I wanted them to have some decent definition with the white gingham pattern in the background. some of the edges were getting lost in the whiter pieces of ephemera, so I just gave them some definition by distressing the edges, and I was thinking about going around some of them with a pen to give them a border, but I didn't in the end. I've just stuck with distressing the edges. So I'm going to have gold as my accent colour on this layout. Gold goes really well with autumn themed layouts, of course. So I'm just tying some gold thread around that tag that says welcome autumn days, and I'm also going to layer that on top of this one here, which is it just says something about fall, but hello fall, but I'm not using it for that. I'm going to just use it as a paper layer here and layer it underneath that bigger tag there, which is going to act as my title. Yeah, I mean, if you've got pieces of ephemera that don't work for you, I mean, every pack of ephemera that we buy has always got something in it that you think, oh, I'm not going to be able to use that one. It's a bit random or a bit strange, and doesn't fit with anything. But I just try to make sure that I can use these bits by, cutting them in half, using them as layers, rather than using them as as they're intended, as they're in their original form. So that's just a little tip there. Just don't forget that just because something doesn't necessarily work initially, that it can't be used, because it definitely can be. Lots of things can be used, even if they're not quite right for the layout. Okay, I've got a few bits left on my chipboard sheet. I've used quite a lot of this collection already, you see. I'm just going through and adding a few pieces of chipboard. So I think there's an apple there, and I've got that. I've got a couple of chipboard tags. Sorry, not tags. Banners or pennants, that's what I was looking for. So I'm just getting those stuck in place. The chipboard's not particularly sticky, so I'm just making sure that my bits don't fall off later on by adding some extra adhesive underneath them. The chipboard is quite thin, which is quite nice actually, because it doesn't mean that the layouts end up being too bulky. I'm using some enamel dots here. They are from the same collection, Carta Bella Fall Market, and they're just lovely autumn colours, so I've just put in a few of those. Dotted those around the layout, and I'm getting into some wood veneer at the moment. I've been trying to use up some stash of wood veneer. Actually, a friend gave me quite a big bag full, so I've been trying to get some wood veneer onto every layout that I've been making lately, and this is no exception. So I have some leaf shapes here, which are obviously perfect for this layout, although the wrong shape leaf. I don't have any maple leaves here at all, but it's fine. Leaves, it all goes fine. Apologies there, you can see I have a pair of Christmas antlers on, and they keep showing in my video, so sorry about that. They keep appearing there, so sorry about that. So with the leaves, they're open leaves, which means you can see through them. They're not solid shapes, they're outline shapes, which I struggle with slightly because I always can then see the paper layers underneath them. But on this occasion they look alright, they don't look too bad. They're kind of working out okay, and I'm managing to tuck them in here and there, and they don't look too bad even over the gingham pattern. They're actually pretty good. I'm quite happy with how they look, so normally I would stress, and I might have I was considering backfilling them, for example, but I really didn't need to. They were absolutely fine. I like wood effect, wood veneer things on layouts to do with autumn, because wood, trees, blah blah blah, all goes. Yeah, that all goes well. I've just added a few sequins there and some wood veneer hearts as well. There's my antlers again. One of my favourite things to do with wood veneer at the moment is to paint it, but I haven't done that on this layout, but I do on the second one. So that is my first one complete. Welcome autumn days. A few close-ups coming up here. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned, because I have another video coming up literally straight away. Here we go. So this one is 100 Acre wood, and I'm using exactly the same collection as the first one, but completely different colour schemes. And this is the colourway that attracted me to this collection in the first place. You'll see how pretty it is. It really is gorgeous. So I've got the big turquoise stripe that I've been saving, and then I have this other coloured stripe as well, lots of different colours, and I've used that paper already, so I didn't have a full piece of 12 by 12 or 12-inch strip for that one. So I have created my own out of 2 smaller strips. So my photos are going to go in the middle. I've torn my first piece across, but I've torn it, sorry about that, I jogged the camera. I've torn it down kind of into like a V shape at the bottom. There's my antlers again. I was at a crop when I was making these layouts, so we all had funky headgear on, Christmas headgear on. So I've torn it into like a rough V shape. I've done the same approximately with the striped piece underneath, and I've made up that 12-inch strip with 2 pieces, and the join will mostly be covered by my photo. I'm not too worried even if you don't see it. If it was to be seen, to be fair, it's because it's torn, it works, so it really absolutely is fine if that joint could be seen. I was thinking about putting the yellow underneath it, but in the end I add a strip of it at the top instead. So my 2 photos are going to sit there in the middle section of this layout. That's the perfect place for them to go. They'll be kind of like central and the main focus of the layout, and the V kind of directs the eye down towards them in that respect. So just working out what I'm going to do with this layout really. I'm still going through the pieces of ephemera that I've got left. A lot of the pieces have these like phrases on. They also tend to have, a lot of them have white backgrounds with lots of patterns on, like leaves or flowers or pumpkins or whatever. So I struggle to use those because I feel like they don't have an edge. If they were a solid colour, they would have a definite edge. But because part of it's white, that makes them slightly more tricky to use. So I'm going to go with this one at the top there, the long one, but I'm going to trim off some of the pattern. I'm keeping some of it, but I'm going to trim off some of the pattern, just make it a bit narrower, and then I'm going to distress the edges to give it a bit more definition as well. So I really couldn't leave that yellow piece of paper alone. I just love the colour. It went so well with the rest of the colour scheme. It's such a pretty colour scheme. And I have just cut a strip of that. Well, I only had a small amount left, so I've just cut that strip the same. That was the full width that I had. So I've just trimmed that across and distressed the edges of that as well. So I'm just going to add that as a strip across the top of my layout. So that means I get my yellow in that way. So yeah, just coming in, arranging things onto the layout, working out what's going to go where. I wanted that tag, it says pie season or something. Not going to work for me, but I wanted that tag in place, so I've distressed the edges. I've tied gold twine through it, or gold thread through it, and then I'm going to hide the phrase with that circle that has flowers on it. Now, so I have these pieces of wood veneer. Like I said, a friend gave them to me, and I'm trying my hardest to get some used, and I do like the way that wood veneer looks on my layouts. And I say my favourite thing to do with wood veneer is paint it, because it absorbs the paint really well, and especially if you have a shimmery paint, all the shimmer kind of sits on top. The wood absorbs some of the colour paint, but the shimmer stays on top, and you get a really lovely effect with painting with veneer. So I'm going to do that on this layout today, but I'm going to do it a bit later on. So at the moment I just want to move everything round. Now, sorry about the antlers, I'm so sorry they keep appearing. Note to self, don't wear Christmas headgear when filming videos next time. The reason that I'm not going to paint my wood veneers now is because I want to move them around and figure out where it's going on my layout. I don't want to paint it and then not be able to use it and not be able to move my elements around, because I'm still designing my layout. I'm still trying to work out what looks right where. So I normally stick my wood veneers onto my layouts before I paint them, and that's a bit controversial to some, but for me it works really well, and because they're raised off of the background anyway, it's rare that you go over the lines effectively and paint your background too by accident. I find it, as long as you've got a decent paintbrush, I find it's a really good way of doing that. So I'm just getting everything stuck in place. So I've got my doily. I found a doily that I wanted to go with these photos. I've got that big wood veneer heart. Now, because it's so huge, it really had to be worked out where it was going to go before. I couldn't add it on afterwards, is what I mean. So I had to work out where I was going to put everything before I stuck my photos down. And I have moved my photos over to the left a bit, so to make room for that big wood veneer heart cluster. Okay, so pretty much getting everything stuck down now, still just working out where everything goes. I do fiddle around with this layout quite a bit. I'm just, I couldn't get the top bit right. I say there was those two pieces that have got white backgrounds rather than coloured one, and then even at the pumpkin patch one, the oval at the top says it is orange stripes, so you've got the white edges of the white stripes around the edge, so therefore again it doesn't have full definition, so I struggle with that, I really do. So that's why I'm kind of distressing the edges of everything at the moment, and I definitely do that with all of those things at the top. So I just wasn't quite sure about how it was looking. I wanted to extend that cluster at the top down a bit, so I will do that soon, but you can see where I'm going with it because I've got the big strip across, and then I've got the pumpkins at the top, and then I've got at the pumpkin patch underneath there, so I've already started a cluster that can be extended down. Okay, so just working on the cluster to the left of my photo, I've added some gold twine, I've added a couple of pennants, flag type things to the bottom left of my left photo, and I'm just getting all of those bits on the right hand side stuck in place as well. So the wood veneer, that tag that I said about earlier, the round or the circular shape that has got flowers on, that's one of the pieces of ephemera. And I'm just I wanted something to go on that pennant there. It was looking a bit plain on its own, so I've just found a floral cluster on the chipboard sticker sheet, and I'm just going through that sticker sheet and working out what other bits I can put on. So I found a little phrase that's to the left of those pennants, the left of my photo, and then I found another little one that I've just put at the top there. So now I'm extending out my cluster a bit at the top, so I've just added some gold twine or thread there. Just poke that underneath my at the pumpkin patch label, and then this was my favourite paper in this collection, so the one with all these lovely beautiful little pumpkins on. They're so cute and so pretty. So the combination of the turquoise, the sky blue, the green, the white or cream, the red and the orange was just such a pretty combination. This literally, that piece of pumpkin paper was what made me get this collection. Really loved it when I saw it, and so I'm not normally sucked in by autumn themes. It's really not my thing. I dread autumn every year because all of my DT assignments are, create a fall themed layout or an autumn themed layout. Oh goodness. But this collection made it a pleasure to make autumn layouts this year, so I've really enjoyed working with it. And saying those cute little pumpkins, ideal for fussy cutting and really pretty as well. So I've just cut out a few of those and built up my clusters with them, fussy cut them out and raised them on foam pads, and or stuck them on top of the wood veneer there. So I've got a few either side of my photo. I'm also going to put one at the top. Even though I have those pumpkins repeated on the label at the top, I wanted to add an extra one that was going to that I could raise up on foam pads. I also did a couple down the bottom there by the floral circle as well. So again, they're just cute little additions. They're very small and very sweet. You can see a bit more of that paper at the top left of the screen. Yeah, so really lovely, and that's literally what drew my attention to this collection in the first place. And these stripes as well. This whole combination of the stripy aqua and the other striped multicolours at the bottom there too. So coming in with some more wood veneer, so I'm adding in a few wood veneer hearts. I have lots of those. They didn't get given to me by a friend. I have lots of those in my collection anyway, because I do love a wood veneer heart. So just getting those stuck in place. I've also got a couple of little dots from the chipboard sheet, so I'm sticking those down with some extra glossy accents as well, because I just want to make sure that they don't ping off at a later date, so the chipboard doesn't seem to be overly sticky, so I've got a feeling it's all going to fall off at some point. So getting that stuck down. And now I'm just adding in some sequins, so you can see where I've extended that cluster at the top. I've added those wood veneer hearts and pumpkins, and now I'm adding the sequins, and I'm bringing them all the way down to meet the photos and the cluster at the bottom. So that like kind of brings the whole thing together really. And oh, a couple more pumpkins here going in. They're so cute, those fussy cut pumpkins. They really are gorgeous. Yeah, I'm just extending that whole cluster down, and I'm bringing it down to meet the main part of the layout, so it connects the top and the bottom together really. So here I am now painting my wood veneer. So this is the point where everyone thinks I'm really brave, because I'm painting my wood veneer directly onto my layout. So my wood veneer is already stuck. I've also got things stuck over the top of my wood veneer, so I'm just being really careful. I have a good paintbrush, it's very controlled, it's easy to pick up paint and add in small detail where I want it. So I'm just coming in and also painting that one under there as well, just so that they're all gold. So I haven't changed the colour particularly dramatically. I've just gone for a gold shimmery paint, and that has coloured in that wood veneer really nicely. So it's not dramatic, but it does look really pretty, and so it's one of my favourite things to do. Paint wood veneer a different colour. I've done all the hearts and the big heart, and the little circle on the left hand side as well. So now I'm coming in adding my title. So we were at the 100 Acre Wood near where we live, and we had a really great afternoon running around searching for all the Winnie the Pooh things and getting lost and having a great time really. I thought afterwards, is Winnie the Pooh's 100 Acre Wood spelled A-K-E-R rather than A-C-R-E or A-K-R-E? I'm not sure. I looked it up and it said A-C-R-E, but I'm sure I've seen a spelling with a K, because Winnie the Pooh gets things wrong, doesn't he? He spells things wrong. Well, anyway, I've gone with the correct spelling. I might have to change it at some point if turns out I've done it wrong. I better look up the original text. And then I've just added some splatters, and I've added my title in the gold. I wasn't happy with it at the bottom because it took away from the vertical design of the layout, so I have stacked the words on top of each other, put the two at the top and one at the bottom, and just extending it further with my journaling. Okay, so again, I've done this after I've done my splatters, which is really silly because I've got gold paint all over my white cardigan. I was really annoyed. Never mind. You would think I would learn by now, wouldn't you? Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today. That was Niki Rowland with 2 layouts for Hey Little Magpie using the Carta Bella Fall Market collection. I hope you love it as much as I do. Happy scrapping!